Hi, thank you for joining me on the Boise Art Scene podcast. My name's Morgan McCullum. I'm here with Derek Norsworthy. We're going to talk a little bit about his artwork. So, Derek, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? What's your primary medium?
Hi, Morgan. Um, yeah, I would have to say my primary medium was probably acrylic painting, but not far behind that, I do also a lot of wood sculpting as well as print making, or just whatever happens to catch my interest at the time. An ADHD artist.
Yeah. So, what inspires you to create at any given time, or like to jump into, what makes you decide I'm going to carve something today or paint a landscape?
Well, it's always something, you never know. I go through kind of short periods of, I'll spend like 3 weeks doing wood sculpting, and then I just kind of, I guess I get tired of it and I'm ready to go back to painting. Or if I have a commission to work on or something, then that's obviously what I'll work on.
Sure. It seems like you're always doing something from what I've seen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I stay busy. I'm full time. I'd say I spend at least 6 hours a day doing something artistic.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've been friends with you on Facebook for a while. So I've kind of followed a bit of what you do. And yeah, it seems like you're always creating something. Like it just seems like you've got that bug, like the drive to create.
I do.
So what got you into working or into creating art?
I'd say as young as 5 years old, I started doing these wild abstract drawings, and I loved doing it. But, what really helped me along was probably my parents' motivation. They encouraged me and forever, and let me realize that I had talent doing that.
Oh, that's awesome. So, I mean, a lot of times you hear people say like, oh, my dad said this was a hobby, a fun thing to pursue, but not a career. It's really refreshing to hear so that your parents encouraged you.
I know, I hear that. Yeah, I do feel fortunate for that. I come from a artsy family, I guess, that helped expose me to a lot of the arts when I was young and encouraged me to keep doing it.
And now I also wanted to address too, you're outside of the Boise area here. You're outside of the Treasure Valley. You're in the Camas Prairie, right?
Yes, sir. I'm in Fairfield.
Now, I have seen that you've done some shows at like the Riverside and things like that. And I know that I've seen some of your work in some of the local places. I interviewed Ace Zappa, and I saw one of your prints up there at her place. So I know you do come into the valley here, but yeah, just trying to stretch out a little bit. We're doing things a little different today. We're going over an online connection, so you might notice a little bit of a change in the audio quality here. But I wanted to make sure that we're stretching out because I said I followed you for quite a while, and I really like what you got going on. So based on where you're living, I do see you create some of your creatures or you create creatures. The Camas Prairie creatures that you make. I believe, I'm not sure if you have an exact name for those series. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's probably one of my main inspirations. I spend a lot of time just out wandering around and exploring remote country, and on the Camas Prairie, and that's also lots of wild animals, all sorts, so I just take kind of what I see and then put it through my creative lens, and they come out kind of funky,
Yeah.
So they're not actually real, but they're still kind of based on my experiences, I guess. I have those for sale in the Art Source Gallery's gift shop there in Boise.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about how you sell your work and how you get it out there? I mean, you bring up a good point with having those for sale.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm on social media, of course, and I meet a lot of people that way, and I have an Etsy shop, and I do shows, fairly often. I've been showing there down in Twin Falls most recently, and then I'm going to have some paintings again at the Riverside coming up in January and February.
Okay, excellent. So it seems like you try to make your living from your art. Is that correct?
I do. Yeah, that is my only source of income. I mean, it's a scarce living right now, I would say, but I'm getting by, That's why I live here in Fairfield. I sold my house there in Boise and bought this 100-year-old fixer-upper here
Oh,
with the intent, of just being able to work on my art. So I have the whole upstairs is kind of my wood shop area. And then downstairs, I have a 1-bedroom that's my designated painting room. And then I have another bedroom that's literally nothing but art storage.
oh, wow. Yeah. So, I mean, that's another part of why I wanted to talk with you, is I see you creating so prolifically, and I see you, pushing your work. I mean, obviously you're not creating just for the purpose of selling, you're creating because it seems like you maybe need to.
Yeah, I don't know what else I'd do. It keeps me off the street.
Well, sure, absolutely. Keeps you from getting in knife fights with the Camas mosquitoes, right? Do you have a favorite piece that you've created over the years?
Oh, I don't know. That would be kind of hard to say, but if I were to pick one, I have a big 4-foot by 5-foot painting that I did of the Swan Falls overlook, down south of Kuna. Mm-hmm. And it's probably a favorite for sure.
And how long ago was that made?
I did that one in 2014. The only time I've ever shown that one in public, it was out at the Celebration Park Museum for Burley Nelson Birds of Prey Conservation Area 50th anniversary, I guess it was.
Oh, wow. Okay. So are there any, I normally ask Boise specific, but are there any, Idaho specific opportunities that you've had? There's Alexa Rose, Idaho Art Commission. Have you had any luck with any of those?
I haven't even applied for anything like that. So nothing of that nature, but I could say Idaho specific in that this, the landscape here, the geography, it's kind of unique with being so much wild country to just go explore by yourself.
Sure, absolutely. I definitely see a lot of people that grab their inspiration from Idaho.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you have your dedicated space upstairs. How important to your practice is it to have that space?
Well, it's pretty crucial for some things like my printmaking and woodworking. So I'm certainly glad to have it. If I didn't have it, I'm sure I would do something, but I wouldn't be able to do what I do now.
So when you're doing your woodworking, it seems like you do a lot of carved pieces. Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah, that's accurate. I grew up whittling, I'm from Oklahoma, and my grandpa, he had me hooked up with an old timer pocket knife when I was like 5 or 6 years old. So I grew up, and then, even then I was creative. So I would even start making things like spears and bows and arrows and just whatever I could from a young age. So I've kind of always, been inclined to do woodworking. Then when I got older, I bought actual wood carving tools, which that's what actually led me to printmaking, because I realized, hey, I can carve wood. Well, I could use the same tools to carve, my lino prints. So that's how that evolved.
So when you're doing those lino prints, what kind of material are you carving those? Are you making them out of like linoleum, or are you doing like wood block carvings? How are you?
I have done wood block, but no, they're linoleum.
What is it about the printmaking process that you find most appealing?
Well, it's just kind of cool. It's a unique, I've done a lot of experimenting with it too, just trying to do some unique types of printmaking. It's just kind of fun and different. I was a offset web press operator for years when I was younger, but that's a little bit different. But it kind of got me interested, I guess, maybe.
I was going to ask if you think that had an impact on your interest in it.
I used to play around in the pre-press room. We had at the Norman Transcript. I worked for the Norman Transcript, the newspaper in Norman, Oklahoma. And on late nights, waiting for the sports pages to come down, I'd play around in there on their equipment and make stuff.
So is the printmaking something more recent, or has that always been an interest for you?
It's fairly recent, within maybe 8 years. At least the kind of printmaking I do now with the linoleum cuts and wood blocks.
Sure. And do you keep the print, or not, I mean, not the print, but the, I don't know what you call the lino.
The block.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have most of those. However, one of the methods that I use is to do multicolor is a reduction. And when you do that, the process destroys the block. So for those, I don't have.
So do you continue cutting it then as you're printing? You like print a color and make some different colors?
Exactly. And then you remove what you want to be that color. And then just keep going. And as you finish, there's basically nothing left.
The way your brain has to work for doing lino cuts and printmaking is just, it's so backwards. It is. Negative.
Yeah. Well, I've done prints before where I wasn't thinking about it and made my name backwards.
Oh, no.
You do words printing, you have to carve them out backwards like a mirror image.
So I see a lot of walking sticks and things from you. Is there a specific purpose behind those, or are they just kind of working with the materials that are available to you?
That's exactly it. Yeah, I try to use what resources I can. Yeah, I have a ton of wood that I just go out, pick up dead and down wood out in the national forest or whatever.
Okay.
So I have plenty of materials for walking sticks.
So do you think that where you physically are located and the materials that you're able to acquire that way have an impact on what you create?
As far as my wood carving, definitely.
How often would you say that you spend time in the studio painting? I mean, painting, obviously, a lot of your wood pieces end up painted as well, but
right.
You mentioned that you like to do landscapes. How often are you able to dedicate time to that?
That honestly is the majority of my time. I would say, I spend out of a year or maybe 8 months painting. I'm actually working on a landscape commission right now.
Okay, yeah. And that brings up a question that I tend to like to ask is if you do work on commissions, if you do that sort of work.
Yeah. I mean, it always, of course, depends on what it is, but I don't think I've ever turned one down now that I think about it.
Is there, if somebody was looking to commission you, would you say that you're best commissioned for like landscape work or anything, or?
Really, landscapes, is probably my bread and butter for that, although I have done portraits as well.
And you said acrylic was your primary paints. Is that right?
Yeah. I think it was kind of more just like the path of least resistance, really, that kind of led me into acrylics because, they're a little bit less expensive than oils and easier to clean up. So that's just kind of naturally what I started with. And I just got used to them. I haven't ever changed.
Yeah, that's something I was going to ask. So with acrylics, I know a lot of people who do work with them. I was wondering if there was anything about that medium that you find particularly beneficial or frustrating.
Well, I think it's definitely beneficial for me that it dries fast. You can work fast with acrylics.
That's one of the biggest things I hear for it is that the speed of it drying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why would you say that art is important to you? What keeps you coming back and making more?
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't really know exactly what else I would do. It's just, it gives everybody kind of a unique identity. And when you're on the right side of the brain, hyper focused on a piece, you feel young. I mean, it's like kind of like the same age. I mean, it's and you're calm. It's relaxed. It's kind of therapeutical.
Sure, absolutely.
It's just, and once you do something so much, it's just like a part of your life. You know what I mean?
So that's why it's important for yourself. Do you find? Why do you think it's important to share your art? I mean, obviously, you're not just creating. I mean, you might be creating for yourself, but you do have that drive to share with your community as well.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important for that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a way I feel like I express myself better through my art.
Okay. What's next for you? How would you like your art to evolve?
Well, I'm always challenging myself, and I'm always a work of progress. That's one thing about doing the multiple different types of sculpting and printmaking and painting. It all kind of helps. I'm always learning. It's always evolving. But so I want to do some bigger things though. I'd like to do some huge paintings.
Sure. Have you made any steps towards that? Have you looked towards like mural opportunities or anything like that? Or is that bigger than you're thinking or?
Oh, that is big. No, no, I was just thinking like big paintings, you know, I just need to make some more money so I can buy some big canvas.
There was a person I spoke with, Mary Arnold, and she had recently gotten an Alexa Rose grant that at that point in time, and it had enabled her to buy a large easel so she could
Oh, nice.
work on like 8x8 or something like that. Just
I'm horrible at doing that sort of thing. Yeah.
so yeah, is it a lack of space for you, or just I imagine working that big is probably a bit of a hassle.
Well, it's different, you know. I do have the space. Honestly, it's just a matter of I need to get the supplies. It takes surprisingly a lot more paint, you know, for those big paintings, and it costs quite a bit more.
Sure, absolutely. So we talked a little bit about how you get your art seen. The Riverside seems like they've been a really good supporter of local artists. And can you tell me a little bit about what goes into putting on a show there for you?
They have a really nice place there at the Water's Edge Gallery in the Riverside. They put up nice lighting, and you see, I've only had one. I was only participated in one show there so far, but yeah, it was a great place. And you know, I've had shows at other places around there too. But it's a really nice place. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for Boise artists.
I appreciate that little bit there. So if you were to, I don't know, I guess talk with somebody just starting out on their artistic journey, do you have any advice that you might give them?
Yeah, work hard. You know, like I say, I started doing art and people were telling me that I was talented, you know, when I was 5 years old, but it wasn't really until I developed a work ethic, you know, until I really started making progress. You know, it doesn't matter how talented you are. It takes a lot of hard work and practice too.
Yeah, it seems like one of the most common bits of advice I get from people is just kind of keep working, keep creating.
Yeah, you have to.
So once again, can you tell me about your social medias, your Etsy? Where can people find your work?
Yeah, my Facebook art page is Derek Gabriel Norsworthy Artist. And then I have an Etsy shop, which is Derek Norsworthy Art. And then, you know, keep an eye out. I'm always doing shows somewhere.
Excellent. So what is upcoming for you? You mentioned earlier that you had a show coming up. Can you tell me about that again?
Yeah, right now, the only things I have scheduled in the future is I'm going to have some paintings at the Water's Edge Gallery in the Riverside for the months of January and December. I'm thinking I'll probably have about 10 paintings.
Oh, wow. Excellent. So are those going to be new works that were created for this show, or are those going to be...
Yeah, no, that's my plan. If I only have a month, I got to get busy, but I've got a few done already. So they will be landscapes, most likely.
Excellent. Okay. And if somebody is at that show and sees your work or is able to check you out between now and then, if they were interested in contacting you for a commission, what's the best way to do that?
Oh, any way they can get me. Send me a message on Facebook.
So do you think that art is something that you will ever stop doing?
No, I can't even imagine that.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I think we probably pretty well covered it.
All right, excellent. Well,
I know I'm probably kind of awkward, you know, but hey, it is what it is. That's me.
You've been great. No, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. I really appreciate everybody out there taking the time to listen to this. We're Boise Art Scene, and you can catch us at boiseartscene.com. There are links in the description for social media for Derek and for myself. Again, Derek, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks a ton.
And we'll catch you next time.